Hey y'all, welcome back. In our last episode, we had quite an adventure. We returned in glory after slaying a dragon, came home and converted our village into cheese-based worship, and today we have further plans. Having defeated the monster in the end, we are now going to revolutionize transportation by making full usage of this guy. Yeah, that's right. You can see right here, this guy's real fast. He's as much as anyone could ask for. We don't have any roads for him. He's a four-wheeled horse. He doesn't really need roads. But I think it would improve the connectivity of our world if we can get a little bit of a path dragging over to the stronghold and perhaps some other places. So to start out, we're going to make use of Buddy the horse to do a little land survey and map out the area. Alright, we're going to need two things before we head off. First off, we need some maps. I think this might be a map of here. Yeah, so you can see this is about the size of our village. But we want something appropriate for showing the area between, say, here and the stronghold, which is kind of diagonally up that way, I think. And spawn, which is somewhere over there. Pop this out down for now, and we can make the map one level bigger. This icon is a lie. It does not expand centered out from that. This is going to become one corner of this, and which one it is depends on some funky math stuff based on where we are in the world. Okay, so we've joined the upper corner, and this is a little bit better. There's more space on the map. But I think that we're actually going to want to expand out one more level, be able to fit a little bit more. And then you can see, this is a level 2 map. There's 0 indexed, which is quite silly. But you can see here, this is enough to grab our village, and then quite a lot more all down here. Oh, that duplicates them. That's the wrong button. Doop. Doop. Alright, this is our collection. For now, I'm gonna pick the one that we're on and ride off toward the stronghold to start with. What we can actually do is, since we're kind of on the border between these two maps, stick this one in our offhand, and then I believe we can update both of them at once. And we may as well, since we're pretty close to the corner, try and just fill this map out. I'm so sorry for what I've done, but also any actual bridge across this is going to be like a major project. Look at it. And as it turns out, that is pretty much right at the bottom of our map, so we don't need to go poking any further south. So now I think that we're gonna pretty closely start running into the ocean here. We might want to fill out the sections in the ocean too, but for now we're just gonna cover the land area. just about finishing that one off. Left-hand side one. There we go. I think that's all of it. Not totally sure, but we're gonna see if we can get all the way over to spawn on this map. Not quite, but we're pretty close. Oh. Back in the jungle. Oh, almost rode into that. That would have been bad. We've lost Buddy again. In all that kerfuffle, we've managed to fill out this upper map completely. I think this one can get a little bit of this bottom section on my horse as we're going home. And then some of it we're going to need to just boat around for, I think, which applies doubly down here. Here we go. Starting to get a view of it here. There's, looks like mostly just kind of a forested island out in the middle there. Now that we've completed the mapping, I think we should find a place to display our findings. And like, obviously, we got to put them in the cartography house, right? Maybe a little bit more difficult than I've appreciated. Oh, or maybe not. Alright, we're actually going to take a little step out of the game, and I'm going to grab this color. Over here, we have a little bit more land. And then all around that, there's also a lot of just ocean. But one of the important things is that we do have our spawn kind of just like right over here, I think. So if we pick a little bit of a smaller brush, we can see right here is our village. Our starter house, map room, storage, and everything. And this is the big mountain that we can see. The two destinations that I can think of that we're going to want to be connecting up are, for one, spawn, which is like here somewhere. And more importantly, what we're going to be working on today, the stronghold, which is over here. And so we want some sort of path running across here. And you can kind of see it's pretty much a straight diagonal shot up there, but there's a big mountain in the way. For now, I think what makes most sense is to hook up this way, kind of trace along this, and then here we do kind of have two options. This stuff is pretty high up, but it's forested, it's not absolute mountains. So we could kind of cut across here, or we can loop all the way up around this edge. So we're going to still have to decide about that later. But a lot of this is pretty well established, so we're going to go ahead and stick with that. One thing about this, though, is we need to think a little bit more about where our paths, how our paths are going to interact with the village. Our enchanter and the pig pen is over here, and we kind of right now have roads going across like this, and then down, and then one going up. I'm thinking that we're not going to want to build a bridge across here because this isn't, it's just not very accessible or nice terrain. So, and also we can give a good reason for our village being here if we say that the main road basically comes through here, links up this way, and then we have a bridge going across the river. I do want to bring this river all the way through. And then we can say that over here, this traces up, I don't know, through here. We're probably also going to try to bring the river the rest of the way through. But it's a little bit narrower, a little bit more friendly. We can just stick a bridge over it. And then that can link back up to spawn. So this has kind of two main implications. One is that this is where we're going to be going today. But then also, we are going to want to widen this main section of road that we have here. Now, we've talked a little bit about our block choices down here, but then at some point up here, we're going to transition out of the savanna. And I think I'd like to switch to a different path style. And tentatively, I'm thinking focus on cobblestone and gravel with a bit of mossy cobble and maybe dead coral if we can be bothered, which no promises, it's a long road. So we can drag it. In general, you can think of paths a little bit like a river or something. Like, you don't have to do it this way. I don't know if in real life they would even necessarily follow this pattern, although in a mountainous area they would somewhat. But in order to sort of get the best immersion and the best feeling out of it, you can kind of try to take the path through like the lowest lying area. So here we're not going to be traveling out straight on this edge. I mean, we might here and there to get a scenic view. But for a lot of the time, we're going to be kind of, I think, wrapping it around through the valleys. And then here, this is kind of an interesting spot, where if we dig through here, we're actually going to bust out the other side. I'm thinking we can actually take it in through here, and then this is the part where it starts getting a little bit weird. We can try going up that way, but I think maybe through here, add a little bit of a shallower slope down here. Gotta find a way around this pit. Sort of wrap around into here some way or another. And then at some point kind of go up to this level. And then I think that we need to probably would just follow maybe through here, sort of. We can try even like creating a little bit more of a pass here. But for this whole area over here, I don't really want to stick with the same dirt path. I want to move to the stone path, and part of the problem with that is that I don't really go mining a lot. I mean, I do a little bit of caving, but very little so far in the way of like strip mining. So my cobblestone supplies are basically 0. And there's kind of two solutions to that. I could go mining, or I could not go mining. And instead, I think we're going to set up a little cobblestone farm, TNT powered, which should set us up for all that we need for quite a while. And not this pit, but this pit right here is kind of where I was thinking that we could end up putting it. Like, there's going to be a TNT module up here, and then cobblestone stuff down there. The idea here is that we want a ring of basically alternating water and lava. The water is going to be trapped in like a waterlogged leaf or mangrove root, whereas the lava is free to spill outward. And those are going to be more or less alternating diagonally, like this. It's a little bit more complicated because we're going to be wrapping it around in a bit of a circle. The basic idea is, if this is the water and this is the lava, this is going to start spreading out. But then this lava, because it's next to the water, it's going to instantly turn into a cobblestone. So in that way, we can sort of form a cobblestone shell around here that automatically regenerates when it's broken. And then we can just drop TNT in here, and it goes bang, bang, bang. Got our first columns sort of ready. Let's see, we're gonna just fill these up. And then we can start, we're gonna need to find something to scaffold with. We can start putting these in. And we need to put them in every block for them to flow properly. So I believe that's all of them. And then at the bottom is another spot where we're going to need to cap it with obsidian. I guess we're stuck now. Okay, so this should be the block right over the center here. And that's basically going to be our TNT drop shaft. A certain part of this area over here is basically just going to be a place where we can allow the TNT to burn off some of its fuse delay. That way, when it lands on here, it's pretty much going to land and explode right away, so we can send them more often and they're not going to throw each other around down there. And I would try to build the duper on camera, but I fear that I do not quite have that level of brain capacity. Okay, so we're to the scary part now. Very, very compact design. Lovely. Found in a showcase by Crafttech26. We've got a little bit of a water set up there, and that's one of the scary parts. Okay, need a block in there. I do not want to try resetting it with the TNT block. I think it would work, but I'm not that confident. Okay, this is fine. That looks fine. I'm gonna run it. That was a bang, all right. And you can see right there, a little puff of smoke. That's a bunch of new cobblestone coming in. See if we can get a better view of it. So the next thing that we need to hook this up with is some sort of clock to be able to repeatedly activate this thing. And we need to be really careful with this because, like, picture we're halfway through a cycle, we turn it off. That can't send another TNT, because if two TNTs are in here at once, I'm not sure if it would break stuff, but it could break stuff. Can do something like this. Another one completing the cycle. There. And if we slap a boat in there, it should just sort of circle around. Okay, so the reason we're interested in this boat, and I mean, for one thing, the boat base switch, because it's not a bunch of repeaters and has a pretty long delay, which is otherwise kind of annoying to do. Then also, because of the way that entities work, if we just like flick this for a tiny bit, well, we're standing in the way, so that's messing it up. But this boat then has to go around in a full cycle. And that's a really useful property, because we can then say that, like, every time it gets somewhere in the ring, then we know that it's gone through a full cycle. Okay, so it's a little bit janky, but this sort of boat clock setup works. And get a reading off this pressure plate. Next, what we want to do is make sure that every pulse that gets sent out this way just turns into an observer pulse. Okay, so this here is a very simple circuit that should do exactly what we want. Whenever this gets pressed, this is going to activate, and pistons within each tick, within each step of processing the game, pistons kind of have their own section where it's like, okay, now we're doing all the piston stuff. Observers and fence gates and most other things that aren't pistons just kind of run immediately whenever it's going to like blink on and blink off so fast that this only sees the blink on and it's in cooldown when the blink off happens. And then we were lazy and didn't use a sticky piston, but this gravel should just fall down. But provided that we're somewhat confident we're not going to get mobbed from above, we can try turning this on. You can see that's... Sometimes it all like flickers back on and sync at the same time, and sometimes it doesn't. I'm not really sure what causes that. But it seems like at the current clock rate, it is all in some fashion or another regenerating before it needs to. So I think I'm happy with that. And we just need to sleep, make sure we don't die while this thing is running here, because then it will get unloaded, potentially, and weird stuff will happen. And then also we need to dig out under that and make a cheap little collection system. Alright, I've cheaped out pretty hard here, but we have 6 hoppers in a row, so I don't know exactly how fast this thing is going to run. Hopefully that should be able to scoop up everything, and I'm gonna basically go up to the top, let it run, and leave it for, I don't know, 15 minutes, half hour, see what we can get out of it. Our AFK session ended up extending a little bit past the intended time frame, so not great for quantity testing, but we can at least see if the thing worked, and I believe, yep, we have completely filled up this thing, and I expect if we go there, then we can cram the rest of our inventory with cobblestone. Now the other major resource that we're going to need for this section of the road, the stony section, is going to be some gravel. So, gonna see if we can just upgrade our shovel up to efficiency 4, because I believe that's what we need to be able to go break gravel. Doop, doop, 6. 18. Oh, no, 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 no. I've done a little bit of cheaty biomap lookuping. So I've found the coordinates to a gravel bio. So we're going to nether roof our way there. Who needs shulker boxes? Alright. Yippee! Look at that. all the gravel. I guess we can literally just set them here. Why not? Oh, it's good to be able to do this. Oh, man. Right, we actually had a pretty quick run of this. Cleared out a pretty good area, and I believe we've now got enough to fill up our 3 chest boats. So we're gonna try just popping these. Is this gonna break the leads? Not really sure how this works. And yeah, 1, 2, 3. See which way is home. I think we need to go right over this way. Look at them go. This is great. Didn't think I'd be able to move them up hills, but look, you can. Oh, that's quite cheap. Lovely. Oh dear. Alright, it is time. We're gonna start putting in some road. And I think that we're actually gonna skip over this section for right now and do the rest of the path out to the stronghold first. I think we're gonna start by vaguely digging out an area. One thing that we can also do is we can just fill it in with one type of block and then break some out. I guess we'd probably do the gravel first because that's easier to mine. I think for now, what I'm going to try to do is just dig out an area and then fill with a mix of the two. Also gotta slab some of this off on the hills and basically just gonna be spamming some cobble everywhere, I think. We're up to a pretty good distance across there. You can sort of see the edge of the path. And we started to get to the point where it's annoying to run back to our chest stack, so we're going to try bringing this horse over here. This is a little spot where I think, I don't know, we could just run the path right through here, but I do think that for sake of variety, swinging it out toward the coastline and toward this view would be nice. So we're going to kind of wrap it around this way, I think, and then potentially leave some space for a pond here. Broken through this area and ended up digging it out a little bit more. This is, again, going to be something that we detail out more so later. Maybe today, maybe later. So we're now going to work on cutting across here, and then we got to decide either to drop off this way and wrap around through here, or to take a higher pass, I guess, and in some fashion come through here and into the forest here. And I think this might actually be kind of interesting. It can pop out here, have a little bit of a scenic spot here, looking out over the jungle, maybe. We're now reaching, or pretty close to it, the point where we have to start making a decision about what we're doing with this area. See, we do a little bit of a swoop up here, and then you've got to either wrap around this edge or plunge straight through the forest. Ended up opting to wind straight over the plains here, going around the forest instead of through it. Gotten to kind of an interesting spot here. Right here, there's not so much up here, but down here especially, there's kind of a little groove where I thought it would be nice to put in a little stream at some point. I do want to set up a little bit of a bridge here. Up the horse. And I don't know, we can maybe say that like this much of it is going to be gashed out or covered in bridge. I don't really want to stick up posts at this close together because then it's basically just all pillars. Okay, so I think this is about what we're looking for. Very simple. Just a little wooden arch, and then you can stick with something like this and strip some of that. And then up top, you could probably just put, I don't know, one of those like that might be enough. Done a hacky little temporary job of this bond here. And you can see over here, we're pretty much reaching the end of the road. Got a little stretch left. And then we gotta start thinking about this here, which is, I think, gonna be a bridge of some sort. You can see, it's gonna be a pretty crazy bridge. I think it's now time to return back toward home and do a little bit more material gathering of various sorts. Alright, now that we've done a little bit of wheat farming, but to get our packed mud, we also need mud. So we're gonna go dig up a bit of a mangrove swamp. Now the mangrove biome is one that I am a little bit leery of destroying in search of mud, but the one that we have over here is actually quite strangely shaped. It has a couple little side pockets, so I will save the main one, but if we portal from here, we should be popping out just in this little circle here. And I think this is an area that I am okay with stealing all of the dirt from. Now, I'm not sure exactly how we want to mix these up. I think we are going to go for the mud primary look, I think. But we want some of this rooted dirt stuff thrown in, some proportion of it full of bricks, and then the rest filled in with the plain mud. So if we do something like that, how does that look? Started refurbishing this section of the main path that runs straight through our village. And what I've sort of come to is that the center, we're quite aggressively using this plain packed mud, mixing in a little bit of the bricks mostly near the center, and then using a lot of rooted dirt and a bit of coarse dirt along the edges. We've already actually finished quite a bit of the path going down here. But we can try to go ahead and bring that pattern into the rest of it. Alright, y'all. I think we're at the end of the road. And while we're riding along, we have these maps of the area, which we can go ahead and start updating on our way back. As you can see here, not a lot going on by the jungle. We have our pond here. And a little bit of adding stuff here, nothing too crazy. And then in here, whoa, it's all full of bamboo. I've found that this is a pretty low effort way to put a lot of blocks down on the plains biome, which I think kind of needs it. Winding through here. And you can see this is one of the areas that we've changed quite a bit. Planted some mangroves in and filled in a whole pond. Then up through the arch. And look at this, lots of bamboo. This was an area that I thought was kind of empty and barren and felt a bit weird feeling. So now we have all of this helping to frame it in and add some greenery on these brown cliff sides. And then over here we're starting to wind our way straight back home, go over the transition. We have a little bit of an overhang here, and you can see there, everything's quite dark. And right now we have magma blocks capping over the lava. Might adjust that a little bit, but I kind of got what I want with the little funny, evil-looking orange honeycomb glowing down in the darkness. Then down we go. Down, down, down into the valley. But we just about get to the shore, and then we can take the road back up and back into home. Then we're gonna take the high road here and put our maps back into Birdie's upstairs. Oh, that's the wrong place. You can see there. Oh, it looks like we've missed a little bit actually. Are we close enough to update it? Not sure. And I believe with that, we've updated all of our maps. Nope, wrong place again. You can see our road leading all the way out to the end. And sometime soon, we're gonna build some fun things at the other end of the road, and at this end of the road. But for now, this is gonna be good night. 'Cause I am sleepy. Come on, buddy. We're gonna get some shut-eye. Good night, y'all. Thanks for watching.